It is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker from Spotify. And so Simon, who is joining us all the way from Sweden, is going to be talking about his way into the CRO industry. He's been building websites since childhood, so it's no surprise that he is doing the role that he's doing. He's currently a conversion lead at Spotify, running hundreds of experiments each year. And if you're curious about his pet peeve, it's when websites require him to sign up in order to use them. So let's welcome him.
Oh, I don't need that. Thank you. Can you hear me all right? Perfect. So maybe we don't need an introduction, but let's look at some numbers. So we have 217 million monthly active users, which about almost half of them are paying for the premium service. We're currently live in 79 markets. And I'm a part of a team. We're 6. We run experiments on the web, and that is the only thing that we do. There are many, many other people at Spotify running experiments, A/B testing, but our team only focus on the web, having people to pay for the service. So we work with the premium product. So we're responsible for everything that happens when a user lands on Spotify.com until they check out. There are other teams working on the ad side, the retention side, and so on. Our team formed back in 2016 in Stockholm. We're tasked with 3 things: do our own experimentation, do conversion rate optimization projects, and help R&D to prioritize their experimentation efforts. But then the hard, true reality came in. And the first thing that R&D told us was that your team should not exist. They were also very afraid of us breaking their website and cause them a lot of extra work. Our business stakeholders were afraid and also a bit pissed off that we were talking to R&D on their behalf and interrupting their day-to-day work. So what now? We figured out that we need to do something about this. So this is what the talk is going to be about, like how we overcame a lot of the problems that we were facing back in 2016. So we need to gain the trust from R&D and don't cause them a lot of work. And we need to get the stakeholders on board. So we figured out, okay, trust, we need to be independent, autonomous, and we need to be delivering results. So we need to become the authority of A/B testing within Spotify, at least when it comes to the web. So how do you achieve autonomy in a large organization? So we tried to assemble an awesome task force. As we just heard, it's kind of important to not be reliant on other R&D teams. So we made sure to have development efforts, design, and analysis embedded in our core team. We also managed to build out a network with other talented people within our organization. So copywriters, translators, regional managers, people working with payments, customer service, and so on. And I can't read the last one. Oh, yeah. And all parties that we were working with was really committed to have the data telling what to do and not opinions. And we also achieved this by minimizing other dependencies. So we needed to own our own tooling. Spotify has 2 or 3 internally built A/B testing platforms. We couldn't use them because then we need to deploy code to the website. So we couldn't use that at all. Also, we need to rely on our own data because other teams are gathering data. So our team, we own our own Google Analytics implementation for all of Spotify. And also, the biggest fear of R&D was to us breaking their website. So we established a really good QA process where we invite them to see all the changes that we do, everything, they approve it, they're really happy to work with us. But the tricky part is like, how do we become successful and how do we become the authority of A/B testing? So this quote is kind of good in this case. Like, if you want to increase your success rate, double your failure rate. But like, what does that mean in practice? So we need to run a shit ton of experiments, and they need to be successful. So 2 keywords, a lot, and we don't want to waste anyone's time, not our own, no one else. So fail fast. This is us, our team, doing like a Swedish folk race rally, my manager crashing a car. But then you need to repeat. So how does this translate into like an agile process? So there are a lot of different frameworks. We picked this one, which is Hacking Growth by Sean Ellis and Morgan Brown, which is a great book to read and great introduction to conversion rate optimization if you haven't read it. And there are a lot of like good pointers on how to increase your velocity in here and how to prioritize your work. So we had our objective to increase the conversion rate from free users to paying users. So starting off with analyzing the data, generating ideas, prioritizing them, and test them. We spend a lot of time in the prioritization part because we don't want to run bad experiments. So you need to prioritize. And there are also a lot of different prioritization methods. In the book that I just mentioned, they talk about the ICE method. There is a PI method and something else, but it stands for impact, confidence, and ease. And what that really means is, so impact, does this move the needle for the business or not? Does it change the user's behavior? Confidence, is it based on data or are we just guessing here? And is it based on any established principle, any UX patterns, any psychology principles? And ease. How easy is it for us to build it? How easy is it for the R&D team to actually implement it when it's ready? And like, we don't need to build a perfect user experience. We just need to build a minimum viable experiment in order to test our idea. So I'll give you a couple of examples what we have done, which are really low effort, but really impactful. So this is one of the landing pages back from 2 years ago. And we wanted to test a psychological principle, which is the Hobson's +1 choice effect, which states that if you only have one choice, it's either take it or leave it. So the user can pick to click the button or hit back on the browser. And this is a bit counterintuitive because we're told in UX patterns that it's good to have one CTA. But this principle, okay, let's test it out. So we have get, offer, or learn more. Same offer. And because we have a lot of traffic on the website, and we at the time had 2 different landing pages doing the same thing. We had the blue landing page, same offer. We had the yellow landing page, same offer. So we had the 2, let's flip the next one. So we had the control, which led to the blue landing page. We had the yellow version with 2 buttons going to the blue landing page. Variant 2, 1 button to the yellow landing page. Variant 3, 2 buttons to the yellow landing page. What do you think was the best in terms of conversion rate? Raise your hands for control. Raise your hand for variant 1. Raise your hand for variant 2. Raise your hand for variant 3. Okay, I think variant 3. There was no difference between variant 1 and variant 2. But they both were better than control in variant 2. And this simple change gave us an increase in conversion rate by 3% just by giving people an extra choice. So I would really recommend you to read books and apply these kind of principles to your business. And don't just take my word for and copy what we just did, but try to read the books and apply the underlying things to your business. But before you begin and while you're doing it and all the time, get your data right. Because if you don't have that, if you can't measure it, everything that follows will be really bad. And when you have your data right, you can plot out a conversion funnel. So we have a landing page, then we have a sign up or a login page, and then we have a checkout, and then we have a confirmation page. And when you look at that funnel data, you realize that that is not our most important path to conversion. And there is a lot of focus within our organization about this funnel. So we figured, okay, what is the most popular way to actually convert? So inside of the app, there are upsells. There's a premium tab, which directly leads to the checkout. And since this is part of the website and it's in-app, but it's a web view, so we can test here. And by sourcing domain knowledge from our payments team, we knew that the default option here was really, really bad, or at least suboptimal for our business. So the default payment option here is carrier billing. So you pay your Spotify premium subscription with your phone bill. So what happens if we change the default to credit card and move carrier billing to the second position, or we move it to the third position? And you see those 3 small dots, you can expand even more payment options. So maybe we can hide it there, see what happens. Or we can remove it completely. We wanted to understand the impact of this. And then we ran an experiment with control and 4 different variants. What do you think happened? Anyone voting for control in terms of conversion rate? Variant 1? Variant 2? Variant 3? Okay. Variant 4? There was no difference in terms of conversion rate whatsoever. So, okay, was it a bad experiment or not? But when we talked to other people within our organization, we understood that, okay, since it's really bad, maybe we can look at some other metric, maybe lifetime value or something like that. And then we figured that these 3 variants had a double-digit increase in lifetime value by just changing the default. So really recommend you to zoom out and not just focus about the conversion rate and look at the bigger picture. And while on the topic of data and stuff, so in terms of hacking growth, finding new opportunities, we just listed before one of our campaigns the most top 10 visited pages on Spotify.com. And we saw that this password reset page or password confirmation page was the top 3, I think. And okay, has nothing to do with conversion rate optimization. But then, okay, someone in our team okay, what happens if we upsell them here? This took us 2 hours to implement and deploy. And having a version where you're not selling and selling, of course this will win. But over 10% of the users found this offer just because of this, because we measured it and we ran an experiment. And this experiment and what we did here, we can attribute back tens of thousands of new users just to this, which is such a simple thing to do. And then we continued down the list and found, okay, there is an email confirmation page as well. Okay, let's try that. Worked perfectly, same result. But when you run experiments and when you do that a lot, try to document what you do so you can share the learnings as well. Because you will forget what you do. And it's so hard to understand what you did 2 years ago if you haven't documented why was the reasoning, why we did X and Y, and why like all the variants and so on. So by overcoming all of these efforts and struggling with R&D and like running a lot of experiments, we managed to, in 2017, our little small team back then we ran 21 experiments, not that impressive, but we tested over 9 million users and we had a 33% win rate. But when we really tried to ramp this up and talking like high velocity things, in 2018, we ran our small team. Back then we were only 4, so 160 experiments, and we tested over 117 million users with a 45% win rate. And for 2019, it's still work in progress, but we have our goals much, much higher than that. So we really became an authority for experimentation on the web, at least in our part of our organization. We have R&D, they come to us and ask us for help when they need to run experiments. We're part of every new initiative within the organization just because we managed to run so many experiments. We have so much knowledge about what works and what is not working. And our design team sees us as an equal partner. They come to us, wanted to try out different things all the time. Now, instead of just running experiments, we're running bigger projects where we're designing whole funnels. So these days, we're seeing a lot of no, basically, because there goes rumors that we can increase conversion rates for all landing pages, which is not true. But so get your data right, try to get independent and run autonomously, experiment at scale in order to fail fast. I really think that is key. Use well-established principles and read psychology books like the ones I listed. But reach out to your broader team because they have so much knowledge that you don't. So if it's customer service or regional teams or I don't know what businesses you work in. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon.